UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer was in India with his largest business delegation ever. UK, as the world's sixth largest economy, signed a pact with India, which is the world's fourth largest economy. Together, they are looking to get trade of upwards of $120 billion in the next 5 years. How soon could that happen? Is that target ambitious? And what are the kind of opportunities it throws up globally is the big question that we asked to Richard Hale, who's the UKIBC chair, joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Richard, thanks so much for speaking to me. Let me start by asking you, sir, you've had quite a tour in the last couple of days. UK has been one of the countries that have witnessed one of the highest number of millionaires exiting. This is a pact that's very important, not just for India, but also for the UK as well. How do you see the trade pact throwing up opportunities for the two sides?
Well, I literally landed this morning from 36 hours, I think, on the ground in Mumbai. I think that it is actually very critical for the two sides, as you put it, to be talking, the two principals to be talking on a regular basis, and also to bringing to the table both businesses, but also their colleagues in government. And what was noticeable was both Prime Minister Modi, Minister Piyush Goyal, as well as Prime Minister Starmer and Secretary of State Peter Kyle came with significant teams in order to really engage. And UK brought the largest business delegation that it's ever brought to India in order to interact with a similarly large and prestigious group of Indian businesses. That sort of commitment on both sides is incredibly important in developing and deepening the strategic, long-term, sustainable economic relationship that we're all aiming for.
And how much will this Trump-proof India and UK, given the fact that you have US changing the rules of the game almost every day?
Well, I wouldn't describe it as Trump-proofing. What I think the focus is to actually develop stronger relations under the umbrella of the agreement that was inked in July between the two prime ministers in relation to a strategic vision into 2035, of which the most important element, obviously, is the comprehensive economic trade agreement. If you look at the breadth of the delegation that came in from the UK, it did include what one would characterize as kind of manufacturing, defense, but it also included a large number of young tech companies, UK companies, across the spectrum. It also included a large number of entertainment-focused and culturally focused entities. I met the lady who runs the Manchester Museum. I sat next to on the plane a gentleman who is developing hardware in telephony. I talked to somebody who was in the satellites sector from the UK as well, and also a surprisingly but encouragingly large group of universities. And there are 9 universities who are opening up or have permission to open in India, and that formed also part of the delegation. So it is, if you like, such a broad delegation of different sectors, yes, and different interests and different types of companies that were interacting in the course of the past 36-48 hours, that it really is, I think, far broader than just a reaction to Trump. It's something that is absolutely strategic.
Of course, it will be much more than that. And I think universities will be a very key component of India-UK trade relationship. Quickly, sir, $120 billion trade target by 2030, modest? Or do you think this is the best that the two sides can do right now?
Look, I don't have a crystal ball. But what I would say is I'm really encouraged by the fact that the free trade agreement is a very flexible instrument. Yes, it is has targets in terms of reductions of tariffs in both the Indian goods going into the UK and UK goods going into India. But if you look beyond that, that is important in itself. But if you look beyond that, then it also is focusing on non-tariff barriers, on ease of doing business. It's looking at putting in provisions which allow the CETA to flex in relation to those technologies that may be under development at the moment, and or those technologies that we haven't even thought about, but will become front and foremost in the coming years. So it is a very flexible document. So yes, if you like, the numbers that you're talking about is in relation to what we know, but what we don't know is the really exciting and encouraging bit.
All right, let's leave it there, Mr. Richard. Thanks much for speaking to me on India Sense.